connecting Jiu-Jitsu and yoga in some very specific ways so that you can see and feel how yoga can benefit your Jiu-Jitsu. Workshopping today is specific Jiu-Jitsu tools from a yoga perspective. So things like breathing for Jiu-Jitsu, turtle, shrimping, framing and posting, Grandies, and getting upside down, getting inverted. So we're going to cover those different things with some yoga poses and some yoga philosophy and ideas to help you be able to do these things efficiently, effectively, and feel good while doing them, because these are all tools that you need to have in your Jiu-Jitsu basket in order to be a successful Jiu-Jitsu player. So let's explore them with yoga, starting, of course, with the breath. This is fundamental to every yoga practice. We call it Ujjayi pranayama. This is a slight restriction in the back of the throat to create a sound. So you have the audible quality to regulate how much are you breathing, how fast. If you're controlling this subtle constriction, that means you're focused on your breath. Your body is aware of that breathing. You can increase the depth and be powerful. It can also maybe intimidate your opponents a little bit. In and out through the nose, kind of like you're fogging a mirror. It's the sound of ocean waves crashing. You'll hear it inside of your head more than you'll hear it outside. Give it a shot, see if you can do it. Doing Ujjayi pranayama is a nice way to moderate your breath, make sure you're breathing well, and keep that oxygen flowing the whole time, avoiding getting too tired, keeping energized. Next Jiu-Jitsu tool we're going to look at from a yoga perspective is shrimping. One of the most basic things that we do in Jiu-Jitsu. Anytime we're on our back, we need to be able to bridge our hips and move our hips backwards. It's essentially 3 yoga poses. We're going from a bridge to a forward fold on our side to a knee hug. If you don't know how to shrimp, this is a great way to practice in slow and controlled. First one, bridging the hips up. Next one, my feet stay stable. My hips go back. I balance on my shoulder. The hips go in line with the shoulder. Legs are straight. My hands can stay down by my toes. This kind of sideways forward fold. And then I recover my guard, pivoting on my lower back, and hug my knees in this open guard position. One more time, guys. Feet close to the butt, a big bridge. Hips go up, frames down by the feet, rotate on the shoulder, hips go back, legs straight. Your hips should be in line with your head, and then pivot on your lower back, knees to chest. Let's break that down. 3 different yoga poses here. The first one is a bridge. You can check the alignment somewhere around fingertips to heels, walking your shoulders underneath so that you can lift your chest up. Some other options are to interlacing the fingers underneath the butt and lifting the hips. Helps to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Grab our ankles here, giving yourself a connection so that the chest can lift up even more with a solid connection. Another one that I really like is to support the hips with the elbows on the ground. Build a stand with your forearms so the hips can rest in the hands. Adjust the feet so that your knees are above your ankles, and just relax here. Should be a nice stretch in the low back, opening up the chest. So there's some bridging options. It's gonna help your Jiu-Jitsu. The next spot that we're in for a shrimp is a forward fold. This is gonna help you to shrimp. It's having nice loose hamstrings and a relaxed spine. So those are 2 things we developed by doing the seated forward fold. I suggest bending your knees a lot in the beginning so that you can keep your back nice and straight. If we have straight legs and we start to lean forward, we tend to pull in the lower back, and that's really kind of counterproductive. We want to stretch the hamstrings and relax the back most of all. So bending the knees as much as you need to get a nice connection of your belly to thigh as you lean forward with a straight back, leading with your chest. Pull the toes back. You can connect your hands to your shins or your feet. And once you've got the nice stretch in the back of the legs, then you can let your spine relax, your head hang. This is a nice recovery, restorative pose. Spend at least 5 breaths here, or much longer, 5 to 10 minutes, no problem. Don't go too deep. And then the last spot, after we've bridged, shrimped to a forward fold, we recover into a knee hug position, which is just another nice restorative pose. We hug our knees and let our lower back relax. You can rock side to side here. You can curl up into a ball to get a little bit of core engagement, especially if we're shrimping, we want to stay engaged. But this is also a nice restorative pose just to let the legs and hips open and relax. We do this a lot for recovery yoga. You can do one leg at a time. It's a nice variation of this as well. But I suggest spending time and being comfortable here so that your knees can be closer to your shoulders and your guard will get past less. The next jiu-jitsu tool we're going to look at from a yoga perspective is framing and posting. So this is something we do in yoga a lot, using our arms to support our upper body. A plank, downward facing dog, upward facing dog. These are all things that we use in yoga, for framing and posting in jiu-jitsu all the time as well. Some important things to think about as we're getting into these kind of arm balancing positions is to spread your fingers really wide, as well as pressing the pointer finger mound into the mat. That's the center of where your energy starts on the ground for a strong post. Also, the rotation of your elbows. If your elbows are turned out to the side, your posts aren't going to be as strong. So we rotate, internal rotation on the arms, and the posts are a lot stronger. Make your hands nice and big, come up into a plank. Another important thing is the scapular position. So we want to protract our scapulas down. Don't sag into your scapula. Don't sag into the lower back. Keep everything strong and straight, core engaged, scapulas pressed away. Rotate the elbow pits forward, so internal rotation, and you have a nice strong post here. You can stay here for a long time. Another one we like to do, side plank. Again, don't sag down into that shoulder, don't sag into your hips. Keep everything straight, press your shoulder away, rotate the elbow. If it's your right arm, it rotates clockwise, left arm rotates counterclockwise. You should feel the difference. You're going to feel weaker. Your muscles are going to take more weight. When you rotate, your bones lock into place. Side plank, working on strong posting and framing. Balance it out with the other side. Left side, rotate the arm, lift the hips, press the shoulder, reach to the sky. Maybe look up to the hand. Nice side planks for strong posts and frames. We're going to go for crow. So we love to start in a deep squat. Straighten the arms. Big hands, spread the fingers about shoulder width apart. Squeeze the knees into your arms. You can bend the arms a little bit to build a shelf initially in this pose as you start to walk forward. But really, if we want to do this pose correctly, our arms are straight, locked, internal rotation. We come forward up onto our toes, walk forward, try to make a connection of knees to triceps. Lift one set of toes, look forward, lift the other set of toes. Maybe big toes touch. Maybe they lift all the way up to your butt. Straight arms, breathe. Strong posts, strong frames. With yoga, how to Granby with yoga. It's a really important position for all jiu-jitsu. We need to be able to be upside down on our back. If we're not comfortable in that position, we're going to get put there, we're going to get tapped, we're going to be super uncomfortable at some point. So let's use this yoga position to increase our comfort level in upside down, or maybe even become masters of the inverted guard. A Granby roll is essentially, in yoga, plow pose to seated. We can start seated in a butterfly cobbler's pose, we call this. This is a nice hip opener, hip stretch. And to Granby roll from here, we're simply falling to our side and then lifting our hips on that bottom shoulder with the feet, lift the hips, tuck the chin, and boom, we're upside down. In yoga, we call this plow pose. This position in yoga is what's going to help you to be able to Granby roll even better if you spend a lot of time here. And then we can also spend time moving in and out of this pose to finish the Granby roll. So if I come back to seated, I fall to my side, and I use my core and my elbow to sit up back into butterfly guard. So I can do a Granby roll with some momentum and just let my hips carry myself across my shoulders. My back never touches the mat. I simply roll over my shoulders, tuck my chin, and come back up seated. If you really want to break it down, make it more challenging, do it slow, fall to the side, use your bottom foot to lift your hip, tuck your chin, balancing on the shoulder, stop upside down halfway, take some breaths here, maybe stretch a little bit, get comfortable, breathe. This is a hard position to breathe in, but it's really important to get comfortable, to take big deep breaths here. After you've had enough, coming back down to the other side nice and slow, foot to the mat, hips come down, and I sit up. back in my cobbler's pose. So there's a Granby roll from a yoga perspective. Give it a shot. How to invert with yoga. If you want to improve your jiu-jitsu, get good at fighting with your legs, fighting off of your back, being able to go upside down and get inverted is essential. And it's something we do in yoga a lot. Plow pose, we're upside down on our shoulders, and we can get there just laying on our back and starting to lift our hips up with our hands and our elbows into the mat so that our hands can walk up our lower back and start to support ourselves here. Relax in this shoulder stand plow pose. Don't be like me and look off to the side. Keep your head straight and work on breathing here. Some big deep breaths, let everything relax. If you are more comfortable up here, the hands can come overhead, maybe even grab your feet, bring the knees closer to the mat, feeling some compression in the spine, a stretch in the hamstrings. Spend lots of time here to get good at inverted guard. Really, the first thing we can do in order to improve our inverted guard with yoga is to do a seated forward fold. The inverted guard, the plow pose in yoga, is essentially a seated forward fold upside down. So if that's a lot for us, we can spend a lot more time here in this seated forward fold, stretching and relaxing, loosening our hamstrings. We can't have tight hamstrings if we want to be comfortable being upside down. And also our back starts to relax and elongate. A key here is to start with bent knees and connect your belly to your thigh so your back can remain straight as you start to straighten the legs until you find some sensation in the back of the legs. Once you've got that, stay out of the lower back. Let the head drop. Connect to your legs here. You can reach for your feet or your shins. Everybody's going to be different. This is your pose, your practice. Just look for some nice sensation in the back of the legs and all along the spine. And once you find good sensation, breathe into that sensation. Big, deep breaths. Allow your nervous system to relax. Spending time in these poses is how we develop flexibility. Make sure you spend time in these poses, guys, and get comfortable there. Breathe in them. That's what yoga is about, is listening to your body, putting yourself in these somewhat uncomfortable situations, breathing, becoming more comfortable, and developing that kind of communication with your body. Because the same situations that we're putting ourselves in a yoga practice are going to happen in jiu-jitsu. It's just someone else is forcing you into these positions. So if you're already familiar with it, you're already able to keep your nervous system and your body relaxed in these positions, the easier it's going to be in yoga. The longer we're going to be able to do yoga throughout our life because our body is comfortable and feels good in these challenging sometimes positions in jiu-jitsu.